Hey everyone, Ben here. I recently put a poll live on my channel asking how many of you always qualify for your online races, or whether you choose not to, either to avoid potential carnage in T1 or for the excitement of running from the back of the grid and making up places during the race. And I can't lie, the results from over 400 responses have really surprised me, because I think this is an area which has a huge bearing on the standards of racing in online lobbies, and one way that we might even clean up some of the racing that we see. But before we get there, cards on the table, I always qualify for my races. I do that for three main selfish reasons. One, I take the view that it's my best chance of getting a good result. The further up the grid I can start, the more likely I am to finish on the podium. Two, I also think that the further up the grid I start, the less likely I am going to have to dodge crashes. There are simply fewer cars ahead of me who might make a mistake or a daft decision. And three, I want to get a genuine sense of what my pace is versus the rest of the field. It'll help me get a sense of what my ambitions for the race should be and how hard to push in battle. And while some of you do agree with me, as these comments on the poll show, it turns out that of nearly 450 responses, only half of you do the same. 39% of responses said they don't in order to avoid carnage in T1, while 10% of responses said it was to attack from the back. Now, as long-time viewers of the channel will know, we don't do judgment around these parts. I'm all for people going racing the way that suits them. But I am really puzzled that so many people sometimes choose not to qualify in order to avoid getting caught up in incidents. My experience suggests that overall, the opposite is true. The further back in the field I find myself, the harder the opening lap is. If you're unlucky, you'll happen upon 2 or 3 significant crashes and you can easily get caught up in them yourself, even if it only serves to slow you down. Start further up the grid, you might miss this entirely and even benefit from a gap opening up as drivers behind you are delayed. But perhaps most importantly, faster drivers coming through the pack can also lead to more incidents in the race itself. That's why we all love it when it rains in Formula 1 qualifying and it mixes up the grid. It usually provides for a more exciting race. But this doesn't really translate into open online lobbies. If you're a slower driver who's qualified and finds themselves in the front end of the field because loads of others haven't, it can be really stressful, coming under pressure from quicker drivers. This is especially true when you've no idea who you're racing against. Just ask anyone who's been on the wrong end of a reverse grid start. Of course, some people will make mistakes in qualifying, but broadly a race where everyone starts in the position that their general pace merits should contribute to a less chaotic race. So, here's my proposal. What if iRacing, Raceroom and other online racing platforms like LFM incentivized all drivers on the grid to set a representative lap time? Now, I don't necessarily know the best way to do this, but a couple of things might work. First, how about a race time penalty for those who choose not to qualify for an online lobby? Or a mandatory pit lane start? But wait, I can hear you cry. What's to stop me just trundling around as slowly as I can to qualify but still start at the back? Well, how about each lobby comes with a minimum lap time you have to hit to be able to make the grid at all? F1 famously used to have a 107% qualifying rule to ensure all cars on the grid were of a sufficiently competitive pace. Sure, you could still game this, I suppose, but would it really be worth your while to do so? But whatever the mechanism, I do think creating more incentives to qualify properly could improve the kind of racing we all have online. But what do you think? Have I persuaded the half of you who sometimes don't qualify to do so more in the future? Or am I barking up the wrong tree entirely? Let me know in the comments, and in the meantime, check out the race on screen for an example of how good the racing can be if you do qualify properly.